through. It's a super 100. King Kohli.
He can play all the shots. Look at that one. This is when it comes to life. That is a classic.
Another masterclass, Virat Kohli.
It's a double 100 for India's captain. Mumbai rises to Virat Kohli.
Hit high, hit hard, hit for six. He is a run machine.
Virat Kohli smashes one over, cover for another maximum.
Big player, big game, big temperament.
Many congratulations on getting the captaincy across all three formats. How much of an honour is that for you?
Well, thank you. It's an absolute honour for me. I think as a youngster growing up, all I wanted to do was just play for India, and I never thought I'm going to be captain of even one format, let alone all three. It's an absolute honour as far as I'm concerned.
How do you manage your time, and how will you manage your time in the future? So much extra responsibility as captain, so much extra responsibility. You enjoy your fitness, you do a lot of fitness work, your fielding, your batting, all your commercial opportunities, people pulling you in different directions. How do you manage your time?
Well, luckily I don't have too many people in my life that I'm close to. I think that helps. If you have too many friends and too many people you speak to, I think you get really distracted, and then your time management becomes impossible. But I think somewhere down the line I've realized that as cricketers and as sportsmen, we already limit ourselves as to how much we want to do without even knowing how much we can do. And that's something I never put a limit on. I always wanted to explore more, understand what's my max ability as far as my intensity in the field is concerned, and even with managing time. The day I get burnt out is the day I start cutting down on things. I've never put any limitations on what I want to do in my life, and you just got to create a good balance and keep moving forward. Luckily it's been fine till now, but I'm able to maintain a balance as of now. That's all I can say.
And it looks like you got that balance spot on.
So 14th Test match 100 for Virat Kohli. His love affair on this ground continues. Right, he's gone through with the shot. There's a man underneath. He'll watch it sail. Oh, what a 100 for Virat Kohli.
He's unstoppable at the moment. He is brilliant in a run chase.
A 400. Outstanding. The consistency is unfathomable.
They are remarkable stats. What do you think you did really well in last year, apart from get loads of runs?
I've seen people have, dream years, and probably that was my dream run. I just tried to keep things simple. I think what I was able to do in the past 12 months was strike a good balance between preparation and match intensity. I didn't over practice. I felt that I'm good enough to go and counter anything that's thrown at me. And that's something I tried to continue throughout the year. Obviously, performing consistently is never easy. So it's very important to get rid of the last performance and treat every match as a new day. And luckily it comes to me naturally that I'm excited about playing a cricket game every time I step onto the field. It doesn't matter whether I've got 300s in 3 innings, a fourth one is another opportunity for me. So I think that kind of mindset really helped me.
England saw a completely different player from what they saw in 2014. You were vulnerable outside the off stump, you were nicking off.
Edged and gone. That's the line, just inch closer and closer to the off stump until he plays.
Swinging ball just looked like it nipped away a bit from Kohli. Just pushed at it a little bit. Good catch from Cook at slip.
What did you do technique-wise, and also a bit mentally, between that series and the brilliant series you just had in Test matches?
Well, obviously the conditions are pretty different here. The ball swung much more in England. But the thing was that, I put too much pressure on myself before going to England, that I need to score here. As subcontinent players, I don't know why, but we are given these benchmarks to go and perform in different countries. And if you don't do that, you're not considered a good player. So I think it was more about me being desperate to do well in England. And then when you don't get off to the start you want to, you start going down mentally, and then you can't prepare the way you want to. And obviously the conditions are challenging anyway. You need to have a perfectly clear head to score runs in England, and obviously technique is important as well, but even people with not that strong techniques have been able to score well there because of their good mindsets. And I wasn't able to get out of that desperation. That continued, and the bowling attack obviously was quality as well. They kept the ball in the right areas. But I thought what I was doing there was I was expecting the in-swinger too much. And that opened up my hip a lot more than what should have been done. in a test series in England. And I kept looking for the in-swinger, and I was in no position to counter the outswing.
Can you show us? Did you know
Yeah,
what exactly you mean by that?
I did a few different things. Firstly, I used to stand at two leg, and my stance was pretty closed. And then after my initial movement, I figured out that my initial movement was my toe wasn't going towards point, rather it was towards cover point. So anyways, my hip was opening up initially, and then to get the feel of the ball, I had to open up my hip because I was too side on. Anyways, I have a strong bottom hand grip. I didn't have too much room for my shoulder to adjust to the line of the ball, so it was too late for me to react to anything that swung, from in front of my eyes. So the changes I made was I went back, I did some drills about, making a couple of lines here, making sure that someone's recording me from the side. Every time I played the ball, I wanted to make sure that my toe is pointing in points direction rather than covers. That way I kept my hip nice and side on. I gave myself some room. I widened my stance as well so that I have good balance when I want to go forward. Short ball wasn't an issue for me, so that really helped in widening my stance and actually giving that forward press, which is really important at an international level. Then when I went to Australia, I knew they're going to target me in that area, so immediately I just cut down everything. I wasn't worried about the pace and bounce. I knew I can counter that. I was prepared mentally, but the one thing I cut down was that good corridor. 80% of the balls I was able to hit for boundaries more often than not, because I was about a foot outside my crease and already on fourth stump, so they had to really bowl far from me. And I know on the pads, unless my body weight's far behind, it's very difficult for them to hit my pad, because I know that that is my strength.
How easy was that to change, and is it completely natural to you now?
It's become natural now. It wasn't easy. I was batting about 3 hours non-stop every day. I had cramps in my forearms by the end of the week. I did that for about 10 days, but it was just like in golf, they say you got to hit a shot about 400-500 times before you can actually perfect that shot. So it was more about precise practice, where I wanted to tune my head to play that way. I wasn't used to forward pressing. I was always used to waiting for the ball and clipping off my legs or waiting for the short ball. But then I realized, even I took some help from Sachin as well. He made me realize the importance of approaching the fast bowler the way you approach a spinner, is to get on top of the ball, not worrying about the pace or the swing. You got to get towards the ball, and then you give the ball lesser chance to move around and trouble you. So I think those things really, really helped me, and that became second nature.
Mumbai rises to Virat Kohli. It's a double 100 for India's captain. His third in 2016. A wonderful innings. He's in the form of his life.
Can I throw it ahead to this one-day series and white ball cricket? One thing I've noticed about you is the speed of hand you have through a cricket ball. I remember an innings at Mohali against Australia in World T20. They were firing in those Yorkers, nearly getting it right, but your bat speed and your hand speed got you out of trouble.
What about that? It's away, it's full. He slices them through the offside.
He's opened the face of the bat and he sliced it deliberately.
Is that something just very natural, or do you have to work on that?
The bat speed has always been really natural to me, but more towards the onside, because I've always been a bottom hand dominated player. But I've worked on my offside play a lot more. I used to hit past covers a lot and hit straight, but the shot I developed past point is something that's really helping me now, and it's a very minor change and minor adjustment to my grip when I'm standing in stance. Usually I stand when I want to hit in slog, the bat face is closed already, so I'm picking up the bat like that, so it gives me more chances to connect the ball there and maybe straight down as well. But when I want to hit through point, and I understand the bowler's feeling a little hesitant in bowling on my legs because I can whip him, I understand he's going to go wide, so I go deep in my crease, and in my stance I just make a small adjustment of opening the bat face a little bit, so I'm picking up the bat like that already, and then it helps me give a bit more room to find the right timing and the placement past point, because once you time it past point, it's very difficult for the guy in the deep to cut it off, and then you can play around with that fielder going towards his right and left, adjusting a little bit in your grip, not necessarily in the way you approach the ball, but it's a very minor change which people do not really pick up. So it's not even an inch of adjustment, and then it gives you a lot more options in the field.
Kohli, look at his face, his determination. He can play all the shots. Look at that one.
Kohli opening the face of the bat, chopping it down.
Something that your RCB teammate, AB de Villiers, said, is almost like second-guessing the bowler, having a gut feel as to what he's trying to do. So it's a little bit premeditated. He's trying to bowl outside off. I'm going to change my grip a little bit. Is that right?
It is. I think in slog, especially guys who don't necessarily hit the big shots. I mean, someone like Pollard or Russell, they don't have to think twice, you know, picking up gaps, because they can hit sixes so easily. Even AB has so many shots. But I think for conventional players, not playing any, you know, laps or reverse sweeps or trying to slog the ball over mid-wicket, I think it's very important to premeditate a little bit. As you said, second guess the bowler, get a gut feel of what he's doing. You get that from the body language of the bowler, you know, how he's feeling, if he's confident or not. I understand if he's not that confident, he's probably going to end up throwing the ball in a good half-volley area, and then I nominate my areas. Point covers, straight down the ground, and you know, on the onside from mid-wicket to sort of cow corner to squarish mid-wicket are the 4 areas I nominate. And then whatever's in there, already in my head, I know that those four options, I'm expecting the ball to land there, and I know I can execute that, you know, on a consistent basis. So I don't think of too many shots. I nominate 3 to 4 areas, and then when the ball's there, my body already follows because it's fed in here first.
Easily done. He'll get his 100th run, and also his 26th one-day international 100th.
Do you mind if I throw you some? Try and get some Yorkers in and see how you go with them. Thank you. Don't kill me.
So that's the closed bat face.
Right.
So I'm able to get more momentum and leverage through the ball when I'm hitting on the onside, or even go straight. When I open the face a little bit, I'm able to slice that same ball past point, just in the pickup. Like that.
See, that's nearly a Yorker, but
Yeah,
you've
so
managed to get your bat and some elevation.
Yeah, it's all about having loose wrists and really able to flick the ball in the end. I mean,
You always had that.
Yeah, I always had that flexibility in my wrist, I guess. That's what allows me to adjust in the end according to where the ball has landed and pick my area. If I have stiff wrists, then all I can do is just slog the ball and not know what to do when it's here. So I just watch the ball till the end and keep my hands loose. I trust my bottom hand to clear the boundary as well, so I think that's the key.
Shot. Shot. Whoa. Shot. Well, end on that one before you kill me. That was brilliant, by the way. Excellent. Just one other thing you're brilliant at is the run chase. What makes you so good at assessing targets and chasing them down for India?
Well, in general, you know, we keep looking for goals in life generally. I mean, as human beings, we'll look to achieve something in work, in any profession, and that is just an opportunity for me to see the scoreboard and do something special and do something that's in my control mentally. Batting first, obviously, you go with the momentum of the game, understanding how the wicket is, try to set a target, but when you're chasing totals down, you understand exactly what needs to be done at what stage in the game. And because I like to think so much about the game, I think that keeps me involved all the time to nominate bowlers that we want to take on, even when the run rate goes up to 7.5, 8. I always believe in myself that I can get 20 run overs in the end, a couple of them, and the run rate drops below 6. So I think you need to have the right balance between believing in your ability, understanding what your game is. I thrive on running hard between the wickets, keep the scoreboard ticking. That really helps in the middle overs. So that always keeps the opposition captain guessing as to, you know, when I will explode or when I'll start taking on the bowlers. Without taking on the bowlers, if you're getting 5-6 runs and over, it makes life really difficult for the opposing captain to control the game. And that's what I thrive on. I read body language. When players start panicking with a couple of boundaries, that's when you hit the go button and you know, get those 5-6 extra boundaries and the game's in the kitty. So I think having a target on the scoreboard and understanding how many balls to get it in, I usually target to finish it 2-3 overs before, and that's the way I plan my innings. And you have to be really aware to know when to hit that boundary and to control the run rate. You just can't go in one mode. I think it's a balance of being aggressive, taking your time initially, but at the same time make sure They're playing very few dot balls throughout the innings, and I don't know, it's just become a habit now where you know, I thrive in those situations, especially when the target's above 300 is something that I take up as a new challenge every time. If it's against high quality bowling attack, motivates me even further to do something special, and I think it's a very natural thing.
One final question. 2011, MS Dhoni hit the ball out the Mumbai Stadium for 6. You carry Sachin Tendulkar around the Wankhede Stadium. You say to me on interview, he deserved to be carried around. That's what he's done for Indian cricket in the last decade. Do you feel you are carrying Indian cricket around on your shoulders at the moment? You have become a global superstar.
I never thought when I said those words, they came very naturally. I didn't think about it. It was just in happiness and emotion of the whole occasion. It's really difficult what he's been able to achieve. I might not play for that long because it's really difficult with, you know, the amount of cricket we play nowadays and all that stuff. But yes, till the time I play, I want to take up that responsibility and carry Indian cricket forward and make a difference. I mean, you must leave the game in a better space, in a better place when you leave, you know, when you stop playing the game. And that is what I think of on a daily basis. What he's left behind is almost impossible to achieve. 100 hundreds is something that's, you know, looks so far-fetched for any batsman playing the game today. But all I can say is I'll give my very best to make sure that Indian cricket stays on top, and you know, till the last day I play this game.
Thanks for an insight into your mind and your game. Thank you.
Cheers. Pleasure.
Yeah, fantastic interview, fantastic insight. If you'd like to see that again, because there's some great tips about the mental side of the game and the technical side of the game, it is available on demand. This is what Virat Kohli did last year. Quite staggering stats. 12 matches in Test matches, averaging 75. He averaged 92 in 10 ODIs, 106 in international T20s, and the small matter of 81 from 16 games in the IPL. A fantastic player. He now leads India in all 3 formats. I wonder, did you get the impression, as I did there, that Kohli now seems to think that this is his time? This is his time where he can score all those runs and really change Indian cricket, make a difference.
I think I said at the start that he's arguably the most important cricketer in world cricket, actually, not just Indian cricket, because India's so powerful and that he actually values Test cricket. That's what I was so impressed with him in the Test series, the fact that he really brought to life again Test cricket in India, and he's driving them forward. He spoke to Sam Billings, and I think he said, Sam Billings said that the thing he couldn't believe was, he said, do you know what, I've got 15 years, I think, to make a difference and move cricket forward. How good is it? He's just dragging people back to the game. He is brilliant to watch. He's brilliant for cricket.
And he is doing it under such immense scrutiny. You know what it's like when the Indian players are in town. I mean, Kohli is now the man.
Well, he's as big as what Dhoni was. He's getting up there as big as what Sachin Tendulkar was. Playing in India is immense pressure, even for people who are touring there. But for the homegrown players, playing in front of your home crowds, and in the off-field stuff, he talks about the mental side of the game, about burning out and all this kind of stuff. He's obviously found a balance there. I think he's right on top of his game now. So his off-field stuff, he's finding a balance here that he can recharge the batteries. So he's 100% focused for what he has to do on the pitch. And he looks like he wants to make a big difference. He wants to create a culture in Indian cricket here that this is the level that you've got to be. If not, you're not going to get on the team. Well, that's with fitness.
Yeah, well, the fitness level he does. I mean, you see him around the gym or in the pool, as I did in the Test match. He's like someone out of Baywatch, but they're all sort of following him into the gym, and they're all sort of changing that culture.
Did he have a red swimsuit on?
He didn't. He left that one behind. I want to talk a little bit technical, though, because he was talking about his problems in England. What did you pick up from how he's changed his technique?
Well, if you have a look, actually, we've got a thing where Ricky Ponting did the same thing, where you talk about their stance, first of all, and you can see he just opened his stance just a touch. He said he felt he was getting too closed in England. Look at Ponting there, but look at their back foot as well, where it's parallel to the crease. So then what he did, so why do you open your stance? This is for everyone, really. If you struggle a little bit, the last thing you ever want to do, if you're too side on, you might fall across. Your first movement takes you that way, and then you're really struggling. That is the last thing you want to do as a right-hander. So if you just open up a little bit, as Kohli and what Ponting did, if you do move, you're still there. You can still get to that part of the ball. You're not falling over. So that's the first thing that he did. Ponting went there and did a little forward press. Kohli actually goes back and then there, but they're never ever falling over. So that just opening his stance is something that everyone could try and do.
But he was talking about how important that back foot is to stay parallel.
Well, and that's, for me, that's what I found personally really important. If you do open your stance a little bit, that this back foot stays parallel to the crease. Because what happens is, if you just come back onto me, as soon as it twists round, the bat and the shoulders come out, and then you start picking up the bat and playing inside out. Whereas if you keep that foot there, even if you're slightly open, it then just allows everything to come down much straighter. You can push off, then you might go onto your toe. But it just allows you to play with a much straighter bat at times, access the ball better. You get more power as well. Watch Josh Butler, he's very much here with his back foot, and that's where he then gets the hips and everything else through. So there are two things that even Virat Kohli, that can help anyone, especially right-handers.
We'll talk about his grip as well and the way he changed it. I'm going to bring you in for this one because he says he's got quite a strong bottom hand grip and he whips it through on the leg side. But when he's trying to fire it through point, he just opens the face ever so slightly. Should kids, should youngsters be messing around with their grip and just trying to find what works for different shots?
Exactly, and that's a great thing about Virat Kohli. He's one of the best players in the world, but he's still looking for improvement all the time. And there was an area that he thought if they were bowling outside off stump, then I need to get the ball a bit finer, backward point, all that area. And you're right in what you say. You can change your grip. I think as youngsters, you're taught and coached to have one grip, to have the V coming down right down the middle of the bat and have that position of the two hands. But if you're trying to get the ball more on the offside, it's a simple shift of bringing those hands around. So when you're bringing the bat through, look at how open it is there in the back lift. So as you're bringing the bat through, you're still playing the same shots. But the actual bat is nice and open there, so the ball is actually going to go squarer. And you can do that not just for trying to hit boundaries, but also manipulating the spin. So if you want to get the ball, left-arm bowler bowling against your spinner, you can just open that bat up a little bit. And just playing a forward defensive there is going to allow the ball to come onto there and go into the point area for one run. You can play around with these things. You don't always have to have one method all the time.
The key is then to try it. Get in the nets, get someone throwing you some balls and have a mess around with your grip. It is 351 for India to try and chase down. They'll be looking very much to their captain. And what did he say in that interview with Nassir? Do something special in a run chase. Let's see if he can do that.